got disconnected. I don't know what happened. But here we are today. I got a cold, something. I don't actually understand what it is, but I don't know. The live ain't gonna be terribly long because I don't know how long I'll be able to talk. But hey, we're here, just checking it out. I finally got the boat mostly fully done. And we're gonna talk about the back, how we're gonna rig the back. So really, it's the fine rigging that needs to be done. All the major, like, fit to finish work has been put together on the boat finally, and we finally got the outboard on it. So really, the next live I wanted to show you with the outboard, why I chose this setup and what we're actually going to do here. What's going on, guys? What's going on, Chris? Max? What's going on, Dominic? How are you? What's going on, Trevor? How are things, guys? How are things? All right, so let's go ahead and, without further ado, get into it real quick. What's going on, Calvin? All right, so here it is. You guys might recognize this motor. We have a fairly successful video on YouTube floating around about the 60 horse tiller. And so, as a fairly monstrously big tiller, what's going on, Jay-Z? What's going on, Phil? 3:35 in the morning. Oh man, I don't know why you're awake. You go back to bed. I mean, no, stay here and watch this, but personally I would go back to bed. So, had this. This is my motor where I was pretty happy with life here. I had this motor as a 60 horse tiller on my V-hull, and I don't really know if this boat was much of an upgrade. It's definitely a side grade in terms of what we're going to get from hull performance, but it's rated for a 60, and so here's a 60. And then it was going to be a 60 horse console or a 25 horse console, and I was going to make a micro console up there, but then I just thought, I'm not going to be able to do everything I want to do with the boat when I fish with it. And so here's the whole big thing about tiller builds like this versus console builds. So, we did a bunch of lives about, if you guys have been here floating around, we did a bunch of lives about the other 1648 jumbo that was just in here only weeks ago, and showed different layouts about that thing, how it was going on. And you noticed one thing about that boat. Everything that was fishable was kind of small. So all your accessories and compartments were very limited at that point in time. But there was exceptional accentuation on the actual console and the seating and the open area, which you did have it open on purpose. We could have actually decked that boat all the way back to the console line and extended the deck a little bit more, gave it a little bit more storage. We could have totally done that. We'll still just have enough room for the coangler to sit and obviously for yourself to sit. We could have tightened that up a little bit, and it could have been pretty nice. It just depends on how much you really want that console. Because I will tell you what, it was very comfortable having a console there, sitting there when I was motoring. I really didn't realize how much better it was motoring back and forth to places. Me here, like, this just fish, all business, no pleasure. Like, you're out there and you're grinding. What's bad, though, is if you're getting skunked and you're having to go from place to place trying to figure out a pattern of where they are, it is actually miserable and uncomfortable. It's not fun to sit on this thing. Slightly what makes it better is this. A butt pad. This one actually heats up. It's got like a little USB port. Check that thing out. Yeah, plug that thing right into the side of the USB port. Right there. And then, so this raises you up a little bit and makes it slightly better. Slightly better. So let me get up in this boat real quick. All right, so first off, we needed this. Before we had the little kayak handles, I had it down in here. I needed something. I knew that I would need it with a motor this big. I knew specifically I would need it with a motor this big. And then I'm stepping on the merch here. Let me get this out of the way. That's for giveaways. Hopefully my phone doesn't die and my voice doesn't go out before we get there. But anyways, the ideal seating here, as I had some experience with what it's like to run a big tiller like this. The tiller is longer than a standard tiller on a smaller portable outboard. So at least I had that, which is good because I made the back deck. I would really like to end the back deck right here. But I made it all the way up here just to give myself optimal amount of storage that I needed personally. And what's going on? Okay, no more, no, yeah, this is a family channel, by the way. So I don't actually know what's going on there, but everybody hang out. What's going on, Sycamore, Jimbo's? Hold, yeah, let's get back. So that handle is kind of what, okay, so Dustin, you're saying what you wanted, but smaller. It's not that big. This one's actually, you can offset this handle. So that's another thing, which I could, you could actually just get it in undo the bolt there and move it this way, which that might be a little bit more comfortable. But because this is such a large stretch here, I'll be grabbing the grab handle. I made this grab handle specifically. By the way, see this HydroTurf? I bent that all the way around the handle. I was going to use handlebar grips, but I was thinking that was lame. Okay, can you tell? It looks like it was just seamed in right in there. This stuff is phenomenal. You can do anything with it. You can make your boat a true work of art. Anyway, so the jack plate's way up here. The tiller's way up here. You're sitting here. I'm grabbing here. There's a few times where I was going so fast and we hit a few little bits of chop, and I remember the motor physically pulling me, like the wave jarred the skeg, and either I went that way or this way. I think it pulled me this way, and I remember if I wasn't holding onto that handle down here, I would have been ejected from the boat immediately. So yeah, we are. All right, yeah, kids can watch this, guys. This is a family. This is like a family DIY channel. It's like, then you know. So yeah, so keep the comments great. I don't think we have any mods in here, so is there a mod here? Anyway, so okay, you guys, it's all good. You know where we're at. We're here. We're gonna be going down. So we are. That's the whole plan, to till this. It's a 60. It's powerful. I don't know how well this is gonna be going, but it's what I got. Otherwise, I was gonna do this whole micro console thing right here, but then I would have had to do all my electric stuff, which is not rigged yet. It's just a mess in there because it's not done. I would have had to put that in the console, and I had to made it thin enough to where I would have had a usable room here, and that could have still been an option. Like, I really almost slightly regret not going forward because it would have been something new versus just another Tiller Life build, but whatever. You know, like, see this whole thing? This is a whole business setup. The whole thing is business. 1, 2, even 3 people can get on this deck and move around and fish. Compartments or wherever you need to go. If you need to run to the back of the boat to keep the fish pinned, it's just a skip and a jump away to the back deck, back and forth. I'll show you how some of the things. Oh, you get this wasn't here last time. I don't think you guys saw this, but this is like the safety plate. The only thing that's missing in there is a first aid kit, but that's in there. Then we didn't have the day boxes in. We didn't actually have this turfed in last time, but it's turfed in now. Hey guys, 45 people. 45 people in this live stream. Can I get 45 likes? Close to 50. We get 50 likes, we'll give away some shirt and decals. We'll give away some things. Okay. And also this one is a larger day box. Now, I don't know, do you guys like these? I love these. They're like the Walmart worm bags. These things are legit. What's going on, Ethan? So, yeah, I don't know. I have like 5 of these. I stopped carrying. I mean, I almost, yeah, let's put it. I just like these. I like them. That's mainly worm bags, place for your phone. This one's a little more shallow. You can put your phone. That beta tracked in. There's no good place for a beta tracked in. Really what I need is like a divider in here. I might make a little divider so this thing never falls over and leaks onto my turf because it's stupid. Beta tracked ins, I do need them on occasion. You know, the bait's been left out for a while. You need to get the stink off of it. Spray that just to counter it. So, like, it's pretty tight in here, but it's all business. This is a perforated piece of aluminum. I really wish I would have painted that because it glares terribly bad onto your eyes. It's really freaking, It's bright. It glares right in your eyes. It's kind of funny, but it's... And then here's the rod lock. There's an 8x48 hatch. So this is pretty... This actually is going to be good in any boat, essentially. From a 1436 John boat all the way to this one, where I got to clean this out. I spilt like soda in here. And it got like... Or like mineral water. Anyways, this... the camera's going to start giving me angles. Got 5 in here. Then we have the ovalized ends, and that just allows you to slide your rod butts in and out, because obviously it's tight in here. In a really wide locker, you can have a whole lot of space between these tubes and a whole lot of space here, and your rods can just be singularly put in and out very easily. But when you have tight, cramped space like this, the ovalized ones will help you slide the rod butts over to get the bottom one out. Just a whole lot of more mobility. I enjoyed the rod locker so much more when we started doing the ovalized slots, and that was like a patron that thought of that and showed us. And totally, what a good idea that guy had. So we ran that in here. Also, check out our sister company, John Yacht. That is a new company of ours. Well, they've been around for a while, but they're just recently been acquired by us. So, and these are some of the things they did make. So this is actually obviously not part of the turf, but this is our bump board. And it's actually very accurate. We held a measuring tape just to see where it was. It is to the section accurate. So you get a fish that's 12 inches is a legit 12 inches. And then obviously that seam right in here, you just got to cut down the cut groove, place it in there. And we want more things like this, like with our logos and stuff. So you can like splice little sections of our logo or anything else really. If you wanted something custom on there, like a custom bait place that you really like 6 Cents or Berkeley or whatever. And you put that right in the deck of hydro stuff. It just gives some people like some feeling, that teak routed feeling inside the hydroturf, without having to do the full route job, which is a huge pain. And up in here, I figured out my better layout that I'm probably going to go with. It's probably going to be like this. I'm going to end up having another day box in here. I had 2 already. And I actually prepped 2. I put tubing to extend them out past the lip. You see that piece of tubing? I didn't do that here. I could still kind of do it. It would just be a real pain. But I think I don't have to. But I was thinking this one could be for like fishing line. I don't know if you guys have the same problem, but there is no good place to put fishing line. But you do need it. When you blow out a bird's nest or your line just ain't doing right and you got to re-spool. I even kind of want to make a... Excuse me. I even kind of want to make a line holder, like a spool holder tool thing. I plan on attaching stupid T-tracks to these gunnels. They're completely flat. Oh, show you this other thing real quick. These are our bait and tool... Like general holder. We have these products tagged. Pretty much everything you see on this boat is tagged in the description, with the exception of some of these things, but that's our large one. We gave a smaller one away, but this is how you would install it. They fit right flush onto the gunnel here because we have flat, symmetrical, like rectangular gunnels. And so they're going to do really good here for like the co-angler. But they really are kind of meant for the cockpit area, but here these day boxes already have a lot of tool holders and plus bait holders. Just so these day boxes we have solve 3 problems, and that thing only solves what, 2? Well, 1 or 2. And then just these are all the people. Railblazers hooked us up pretty big, and I'm going to show you a lot of other products here on the boat. We rigged the boat out with a lot of the Railblazer things. But Hydroturf's been with us for a minute. And Flashlights and Gatorback have backed us since day 1. And so Flashlights, this boat, next time you see it, it'll be fully rigged with lights. But these are the 4 companies. They're pretty big part of this boat. And then obviously Epic Batteries as well. But it's just going to have to be for the next live because it's not rigged in there. We had to take them in and out, and then we had to do more things. And so it's just a floating pile of mess of wires in there. The boat is... We're just trying to finish everything else until we get to the wiring. And the wiring is sorry, let me move this. We're trying to get everything done. So the wiring is the last thing we have to do. It's darn cold. All right, let's see. I got out of the boat for a reason. First, I was tired of standing there. Yeah, I just pretty much showed you. This is the layout. So the boat is... this is the whole deal. It's fairly uncomfortable You have a pit to put your legs in. But other than that, it's just a deck. So it's just like sitting on a bench seat John boat again. But the benefit is you have a full deck. And it's just nothing is in your way. Everything is at your disposal. You can make it however you want. And the outboard is minimally invasive, especially if you put the tiller up. It's completely out of the way. That means your whole boat's usable. And the outboard is really, truly outside of the boat. And it's completely out of the way. And you can just do your whole thing fishing. So if you're grinding, which most of the time you're grinding, you're standing up, moving across the boat, moving here and trying to get good angles to cast. There's not a whole lot of layouts that are going to be better than this for a boat this small. Now, on a bass boat, you can have a layout like that plus a console and, you know, the seating, because the boat is 19 feet, 20 feet, and 7 feet wide or something. They're really wide. So it makes more sense to put a console in there. But in a 16-foot boat, even in a 17-foot boat, the console really starts eating up major spots to like have it done right. So you have room for the rotary steering or for the hydraulic unit. The console has to be so thick, plus your room for footing. And if you're going to be stowing all your electronics in the console, because that's what this box was for. But most people are rigging a console, you'll be rigging all the, and it's really, I just don't like doing it. But it's whatever. If I'd have kept that boat the other time, only thing I would have done to that boat would have been extend the deck. Would have had to forego the rod locker, but whatever. Like, rod locker's nice to have, but it's not everything. What's good is just like usability. So let's talk about some of the rigging here. A lot of the small accessories we rigged. For one, we're going to be selling this. We're going to be selling this. I think we already do, but just like not to the public. We put them in the boats that we do. A lot of them. These are full USB lighting. Now we did in our electric kit. We got you get a rear nav pole in the electric kits, but this one is just, it comes on a ram mount. You can take it on and off. And the bigger thing is you can just fold it out of the way, so you don't have to go and stow it anywhere. And then it just plugs in with a plug, which will be having a panel here. And we'll be taking care of that. So that's coming. So these lights are ran, the panels ran, and then we'll be running flashlights through that last tube, and then joining them all the way through. So and then we have these flip-up cleats, these flat cleats. I hear a lot of people complain that like the traditional cleats break rod tips or break rods. I've never had a rod break on traditional cleat. I don't really know what happens, what kind of brain fail that happens that makes you jam your rod into a cleat and break it, but people have complained about it. And there's enough of it's like enough of people to complain about that apparently it's a common problem for people. I personally, in all the boats I've had, have never done it. But it doesn't mean like it won't happen. And that since enough people complained about it, then I'm worried about it. So we got these flip down cleats. These are from Amazon. They're pretty cheap. Just look, flip up boat cleats. I don't know. Then here, Railblaza, these guys right here. Railblaza. You know, there's a few companies out there, Scotty and a few other ones that were really big at making these like star mounts. Railblaza kind of came out with their own style, and it's unique enough to where it actually solves maybe more problems than Scotty and some of the other ones ever did. Like it's, for one, they have these. They even have another one back here. And this one has 4 holes. This is a little bit more. The other one, they're all meant to go on a T-track, but you can pull them off and mount them flat like this one. So that's what I did. But this is they lock, so you can pull them out. Biggest thing is they truly lock in. You cannot pull that thing out. Okay, pay no attention to my dogs having a cow. Can you hear that? Whenever my wife comes home, they lose their mind. Like, we abandoned them for a year, and she was just gone for like 10 minutes. But every time she comes home, they cry like that. Like they haven't seen us in like years. Like we're their long lost family. They don't do that for me though. When I show up, their mouths are shut. It's weird. Anyways, like yeah, just the locking thing is really what does it for me. Like, obviously, and this is for a GoPro. Their system, complete swiveling head, complete autonomous. This actually even locks in and out too. They can take that right out. They have different heads for it. This actually locks in and out too. I believe you can pull this one right out. If I finagle with it enough, I can. Oh, it was unlocked. Yep, there it goes. You lock it. Pretty nice. 3-way to lock it. It's on there pretty sturdy. I mean, the YOLOtech, it was always sketch because you had it jammed into your nav light pole mount, and with enough waves kicking, it would lose some connection, and there was always a chance that it would just shake loose because you could never really truly lock it in. And so that now I don't have that problem. And I actually have extensions because this thing comes out. I actually have extensions down in there in that rail blade in that bottom compartment to go in here and extend this. And I like it a little bit more extended and a little taller. And the boat's a little longer now versus the 14-footer I had, but the taller it is, the better the picture. The more you can face it down to the deck versus facing at the background where you don't want anybody to see where your fish is getting caught. But it's like those there. And then there's rod holders and a bunch of other accessories. Essentially, this is a media boat. Like I made a lot of it so I could record media much easier than you can on a standard boat that's not prepped for it. And it's part of prepping for it is having these mounts everywhere. So I want to do like a straight up stand-up commentary, possibly a live on the lake if I could ever get good enough reception. They have these phone holders. So we'll be putting one of these in the back. And they got these. So those can actually fit in flush more, but they have this mount and I just stuck it there because it's easier. It's easier to mount it versus kind of through hole it to get it flush. It didn't really matter. We finally got the Hydrowave rigged. I was going to rig it on this bottom sleeve here, but then we ended up not doing it. This still needs to be turfed. The little sections still need to be turfed. This side needs to be turfed. I have this turf over there, but it just kind of been over it a little bit with getting everything else in here. I got to screw this thing in, but this is more or less in place. All the stuff is in here. The SRX2 light bar. Can't wait to actually see some of this in action. I just have to get the batteries connected, guys. And sorry. Yeah, so I came over here to show you the flashlights. So these are them. That's a whole 12-foot strip. 12-foot did pretty much all the way to the end right here. We hit it right in the turf. Like if you cut out one cut groove, these fit right into that cut groove. So fit pretty good. Just like count 9 up. It's 8 and then counted 9, cut 1 out. So it's 8 more or less. So with a slight turb. And then we were able to just hit these gunnels like that. We're pretty fortunate. So we'll be able to run one of those. And then we're really going to have to run one of those inside this lip. That's why we have this really obnoxiously long exit. Look, there's my fingers. Look how much they extend in. We got that obnoxious lip there. So we can, I got to get in there. So it can kind of deflect the sheer amount of light immediately hitting your face. In fact, I'm going to kind of pair it to where it just goes like this and floods in like this. And I don't think we're actually going to have that light right here. We might. But I do like doing that. And in the compartment, if you're gonna do the LEDs, you want to do it the same way. So like the LEDs in this compartment. Oh, you can tell we have flashlights down there too. You see them? But they stop. So when you pull this up, you don't get glared light right in your face. It's all light in the side walls and the back wall glowing in and then glowing off the top. So one thing about why I really like the snow cam, it lights up very well. LEDs, it's the best. Maybe it gets dirty a little too quickly and it's super annoying to have to clean, but you don't step on it when it's inside a compartment. And then when the light glares off of it, it looks brilliant, especially RGB lights. It changes any color that the RGB puts it on. Yellow, green, blue, red. It looks like it was that way. It's crazy. So we're just going to have straight white LEDs in here. We're only going to do RGB for the outside in the cockpit because running RGB in this whole boat would just be a little much. But we're pretty good here. We're pretty good. So what do we got here? We got 45 likes. Almost enough for a merch giveaway. Jeez, just 5 more, guys. 60 in the chat. Can get 5 more likes. And we'll give you guys away some shirt and decals. All right. Anyways, yes. Long awaited, parted. So while we wait for those 5 likes, I'll just show you this. It's a legit 60. Oh, here. 4-stroke. And I thought it was going to look obnoxious on this boat, but it actually kind of looks like it belongs on the boat. Doesn't look really bad. I mean, this boat was rated for a 60 way back in the day, but again, as I've been saying in the other lives, the 60 horses of the old time, where these boats were a thing, were way different than the 60 horses of today. Where the 60 horses of today, a lot more torque, a lot less high end, and they're just fatter, and they weigh more. So I would think that, I don't know, I swear the 40 and above horses for the 2-strokes, they weren't necessarily light. I just don't think they were this heavy. This thing's got to be somewhere between 50 and 100 pounds heavier than its 2-stroke equivalent, but it is a little bit more reliable, much quieter. Don't got to worry about gas mixture. You get the benefits of it in most of the power, and really that's going to be any amount of power we need. Something I found out pretty funny. So I have bald spots on my prop. Apparently that's from cavitating. So either I'm underpropped or I had the motor out too high on the jack plate. So I didn't even know that until I got told that when we put this thing on. So this isn't sealed in yet. We still got to seal some of these in here. We're actually gonna get black 3M 5200 because they make it and they'll match. And that white just glares really badly off the black paint. We got an Atlas microjacker. Really, because we wanted the max amount of length from the tiller. It's the only benefit we get there. Otherwise, you could have stuck any jack plate on there. But it has to be one that mounts onto the bigger motor mount bolts. So any motor that's 40 and above is going to have the major motor mount. Or if you get a 25 or a 30 or even a 20 horse with power trim, it's going to have this mount plate, which makes the motor tremendously heavier. So you might as well just get a bigger motor, unless you're just really dead set on a 20 or 25. So I mean, that's just where we're at. You got the co-pilot steering tensioner. There's a knob where you would actually unbolt it to turn the tiller that way. It'd be a little bit more comfortable that way. But since we have to sit so far forward, we actually don't have to do that now. And I could just go ahead and grab it and hold on to it. In fact, if it was over there, I would have to move it in. Just so, but it has that option. I also did lose that. I don't know where that is. I mean, that's a spare one. The spare one's supposed to actually be under here, just in case you lose your initial one. So you're not supposed to be running around with your spare. That's fail. I'm going to go polish this thing up. It looks like crap. I'm going to clean it up, give a nice little wax job, put some re-elastomers on the plastic so they look a little bit more fresh. This boat doesn't look all clapped out. It's been sitting out there for a minute, though. But here, oh yeah, this is a cool thing. The cool thing about this is, look, remember we were having that whole hard time sticking this boat in here? I didn't even have an outboard on it yet. Now we got an outboard, a very generous outboard, and the whole boat fits in here even better than it used to. Why is that? Well, I was starting to work on trailer mods. So we got this. This is, we added a Fulton hitch. So this is the bolt-on one. They make weld-on ones. The only difference between the weld-on and the bolt-on is the weld-on one doesn't have holes and is not, I guess, zinc-coated or something. It's actually so it's the exact same thing. I had a weld-on one. I was like, this is the exact same thing. There's no difference. There's no difference in quality or anything. It's just, you actually have to do more with a weld-on one. I think they're just expecting you. But the bolt-on one, if you can't weld, they have bolts that go right through here. They come, and they're very serious bolts. Because I have had the bolt-on version where when I couldn't weld, and I totally did use them. And yeah, they don't flex. It's just it's every bit as stiff as it is if it welded. There's maybe a little bit of play in here, but that's because the bolt has a little bit of play in there. So there could be the slightest little bit of play in it, but it's supposed to be that way. Obviously, you need a little bit of play in the pins, or they can't get in there. So that's the only thing. There's a little bit of play, a little bit of clay. They have these little rubber grommets, so I don't know where I put them, but they're supposed to go in there, and that kind of helps with some of the vibration. But you can just put a little rubber strip pad of gator skins or something right there, and it doesn't really matter. We had to re-rig. I don't know what you guys, but obviously we rigged the whole brand new lights in this whole thing. I absolutely hate to rig trailer lights, and I, for the life of me, can't understand how they get these wires chased all the way to these small holes for like outside lights, like, you know, lights out the fender and stuff. I don't know how they do it. Still, can build a whole boat, still can't figure out how they do a trailer. So it's like one of those things. But this is a bigger thing. I just been starting to rig mine like this. I'm gonna make a little thing because this boat is now sitting on the trailer differently after that outboard because it was sitting flush, and so I welded it. And then now that outboard's on there, it moves up. So we're actually gonna have to make a little brace here to where this is underneath, so where it pulls it down. So what's supposed to happen is this was up here and this was like more down here, and it's supposed to be pulling it down. What I don't like that when you're trying to load the boat and stupid tape, and you're like maybe trying to pull it up a little more, like it got short trailered a little bit. It pulling down this angle doesn't help the boat pull forward, and so but if you pulling it straight helps it. But I'll probably end up having to make a little attachment here and weld so this can come under here and kind of pull it down, because that's going to be kind of an issue. You see that flex? That's sketch. This whole trailer is sketch. What the freak? I don't like this at all. Look at this whole trailer. Look at this whole trailer move. What a piece of crap. I'm gonna go get a bass boat trailer and just rig it for this boat. This thing is sketch. Can you imagine taking this thing down a dirt road? Yeah, I'm not real filling this trailer now. I'm doing this on live. You're figuring out how stupid you are on a live TV. It's not great. No, forget it. What else? Well, I don't know what you can do about that. I mean, the boat was on it before. It was a built boat before I rebuilt it. This has to be the original trailer, but it's like a 1990s trailer. Trailers have evolved since then. The things I used to do back in the day, it could get away with, man. I'll tell you what. Anyways, hey, we got 50 likes. Thank you guys for those likes. Like I have in here, a TBNation OD Green, large. I think it's like a full polyester, like those workout shirts, like Under Armour looking workout shirts. One of those. All right? Large. So if you're not like, so I guess if you have a friend who wears a large, but really if you wear a large, go ahead and answer these questions. You'll also get some decals, like 2 of these, and Old Johnny sticker, because you know that's how we roll. That's our sister company, the John Yacht. We actually gave away one of these bunk boards last live. Now I'm feeling like crap from that cold. Let's go. Let me think of a good question here. All right. Let me see. We just found you as a fellow military vet. Hey, appreciate it, Shark Bay. Thank you. Not tractor trailer. Okay. Oh, hold on. Phil H. When I trip the hatches, do you do it with the latches off? Absolutely. Let me show you that real quick before we do the giveaway. We're going to do it. Well, I'm thinking of a good question. Let me show you what I did here. I got to show you something. So, first of all, we did line this up. One sheet after another, one sheet on top, perfectly lined, and then we just lined the other back. Once you get the first one, it's super easy to line the back one. Just draw a center point in the back of the transom and then match the grooves up, and then everything just matches out to the side. We talked about it in the last live. We have a super extensive video tutorial on how to do this coming up. I got it on 4 cameras. There's no way I missed anything. So it's going to be a pain to add. So here's talk about the latches here. So for one, you're going to have a rubber seal, or you can cut halfway down the turf like I did. I just cut that cut groove out and left the bottom part, because there has to be something for those teeth to grab. Right? Those teeth have to grab it. They cannot grab bare aluminum. They'll slip. And even on the rubber doesn't actually stick to the aluminum. So if you work these back and forth, or the boat vibrates enough, you can actually move those rubber seals. And just, even if this thing is locked, you can turn the whole thing. So these are actually really easy to get broken into. What makes it much harder to get broken into is if you cut the turf down like that, you ain't going to be able to shift that turf. Not when it's completely tight. Right? And then so it's in here. And it's, oh, I'm going to have to go in there and do it. But I'm saying, like, it's, first of all, it'll seal. That's one thing, because one of the major points of water entry, even in dry hatches, is actually through the latch itself. Not through the dry hatch like areas. So if this compartment ever gets water, it's going to be likely through here, but it shouldn't be because we have enough foam there. And this should butt up right against that foam that we cut out and seal right in there. And then we double tighten it on the other end. And we have foam on each end, so that cools down the compartment tremendously. But also, it's acts like a tensioning washer. You know what I'm saying? Because the foam is squished down, but it's always trying to re-expand. So it actually just keeps these tight, kind of like a lock washer. So it's really hard to actually unshake these. It's very hard. And it's also really smooth. Then we have stuff like these, like the door edge guard around the catches. And that just stops overall vibration and also gives you a little bit of give, because you don't want this. Look, let me show this. We haven't actually set these correctly. That, you don't want that. That's nonsense. If the motor is on, that'll vibrate. It'll drive you nuts. It'll drive you nuts. See this one? It's not like that. But you see that little pop? I don't know if you can see it. See that? It's under a little pressure. Pop. So we have that here, and it gives it a little bit of give. And so you can complete. This hatch will not vibrate. None of these hatches will vibrate because we have them set like that. You'll be much happier overall with the boat and the quietness and everything if you're trying to go for stealth with that kind of setup. All right. What kind of useful question do I have for you guys? All right. Can I just rivet 1/8 angle? I would tell you to not use 1/8 angle if you're going to rivet your frame together. And mainly, hey, thank you for whoever gave me the super chat. I don't know who did it, but thank you guys. Appreciate it. Zach E. You don't want to rivet 1/8 because 1/8 inch angle, you're going to start having an overlay. When you join the frame together, you're going to have a 1/8 inch gap. So if it's a 1/16 inch gap, you can float a wood deck over it or float a hatch over it, and it's not the biggest deal. But the minute you go to that 1/8 inch gap, yeah, it makes the deck so uneven, or the top so uneven, you'll have to end up overlaying flat bar to even out the whole thing. So then you're going from 1/8 to 1/4 in sections, and sometimes 3/16 in sections, depending on the joint. Then aluminum actually gets much heavier. A big common thing that we try to dispel, I think since day one or year one of the Tiny Boat Nation, is that aluminum in your boat does not make it light. In fact, a lot of people who were overframing, I was a huge opponent to overframing and exposing what overframing was, since I had overframed with aluminum, thinking that there was no way it could be any heavier than a wood deck or wood framing. You can actually it gets very easy to overframe your boat in 1/8 if you rivet. You're going to just run into problems. It's only for that reason. Plus, the 1/8 inch aluminum is stronger than the rivet. So the whole thing with riveting 1/16, it's strong in the span of like a 4 section like this. So as long as something's on it, it's strong. But it's not stronger than the rivet. So you can actually flex 1/16. And so when the boat shutters and the frame flexes, the rivets are actually, I would argue, stronger than the 16 gauge. So you won't have any rivets popping. I think with an 1/8 inch frame, over time you would see popping rivets because the stress that the 1/8 inch angle on the rivet, because it just would put stress. It won't give the same way that a 16th inch frame will. So I would tell you to not. People still do it. It's got to be miserable. I have riveted 1/8 inch. I will never do it again. Ever again. I'll tell you how I found out 1/16 inch was strong enough to frame a boat. I actually got called out by a lot of boat people, boat builders, engineers way back in the day. They were always calling me out. Your crap's this. It's unsafe. It's a floating jet trap. You heard all this nonsense, right? So some of them actually had really good points, and I was like, yeah, well, maybe that's right. But most of them were just haters. And then but there was one guy, I got into it because I was tearing into aluminum, how you could make your boat heavier with aluminum than wood. And then he was like, you're framing it wrong. You don't know how to frame with aluminum. So then I ripped him back. This is back in my days when I was younger and I was all about flame wars on stupid internet. And then he's like, look, I'm not going to carry this on with you, but I'll just tell you that I have a job as an engineer that specifically deals with how to make light, thin gauge aluminum strong in frames. I'm telling you, you're doing it wrong. You need to look at it again. I got told by an engineer who actually framed out aluminum in super light thin gauge aluminum. So he's got probably pretty smart, probably very well paid engineer at that point in time. I was like, all right, because your profession, because obviously that's a very unique skill set, I'll go try it out. And he was definitely right. It probably could maybe even go thinner, but I don't know how thinner you could really go than 16 gauge. 16 gauge is thin, so like, but that's how we like end up figuring out 16 gauge is thin enough, and it's way easier to work, way easier to drill through, way easier to work with, way easier to frame and piece together, and you still get most of the strength and rigidity here. Yeah, we did weld a lot of this in the front specifically because we have compartments in here, but if you're just adding straight up walls or if you're adding our drop-in bins, you don't need to weld up nothing. It'll be fine. It will be. Maybe not with a 60 horse. I would also say that maybe if you're going to run something like a 40 horse or bigger, welding is probably your best friend, at least in all the crucial load-bearing joints. Maybe not the whole frame, but definitely in sections. Yeah, I would be, I don't know, like the riveted frame will hold, but I definitely would want an 1/8 inch frame. There's 16th inch throughout this boat, but there's a lot of pour foam in here. Remember, that's going to stiffen up the hull tremendously. You can go either way. I don't know. There is a lot of 1/16 in this boat though. Thank heaven, because this boat got very heavy very quickly. You could tell the front. The front, I could pick it up now from the tongue and lift it up. But before that outboard was on there, I could not lift that tongue up. I was actually a little stressed out about it. So that motor actually bounced out the boat much better. Thank heaven for that motor. Like, I think I exactly needed that motor to be, it actually balances the boat out a lot. That's good. All right. Here's the giveaway question. You guys ready for this? 60 likes. Hold on. How do you make a flush mount live well drain hole? A flush mount live well drain hole. Excuse me. Sorry. Let me show you here. Well, I cheated. I used one of our live wells. I didn't actually make this. This was TIG welded and stamped and imprinted right there. So you already have a flush mount there. It's made specifically for the flow right kit. It is stamped in an X down the middle, so the water will always drain to the middle. So that's how I got around that. But if you're using like a tough tote, like we used to, it's really hard to actually do that, to get it to drain flush. So you could run it in a corner or to the back and then lean on the boat in the corner, and you'll gather all the water to that corner, but you won't necessarily get all the water out. Not necessarily all the water gets out of this one, just like 99% of it, but you can still kind of do it that way. Supporting people, oh, let me see. What's going on? Flat, is that your name? Yeah, so the vertical date box and all those things are pricey, but they're all aluminum machined and powder coated, and they'll last you forever. So that's the whole thing. You can go get those little cheap, like, mesh ones, and those are like 30 bucks. They'll last you a season. I mean, you can just keep floating out those. Do whatever you got to do. Do whatever's in your budget, guys. Like we get it. Some of the products, we're not a giant company that we can't just like source 1 million of them at a time and then sell them for dirt cheap. Like, we're not Amazon. So some of the stuff it's all homemade. It's all US based. All of our products, they're a little bit more expensive because of that. It is what it is. But we also show you ways to completely bypass all of our products and just do all of it yourself. So we've been doing that for a minute. We've got series, but we haven't had products for people who want it to be easier and get stuff. I mean, I think everything in this boat solves pretty much all the problems that I personally would run into while on the water fishing. And then, let me see, what else you got going on? What's the giveaway question? The giveaway question is, what's going on? All right, giveaway question is, what motor was that originally on? What boat was it? It wasn't this boat. See what you guys got here. Not a Starcraft. Calvin Candy smoked it. Jeez. Only 3 answers in there. Calvin Candy. Calvin Candy. What a name. Is that your real name? Calvin Handy. Sorry. Can't read. Calvin, congratulations. You got a merch pack. All right, got a merch pack. Email me at mike@tbnation.net. And tell me that your name is Calvin Handy and that you won the merch pack. And I'll get it out to you this week. Or possibly later, but only because if we do multiple lives, I don't want to keep running to UPS. It's a real pain. So I like to do like one run if we're going to do multiple lives. But definitely within a week, generally it gets out to you. Crappy Kev has some stuff coming to him. Damien and Dominic have stuff coming into him. So there's frequent people owning these. I had an inflatable. That's hilarious. Narc Divers. I had an inflatable, but definitely didn't put a 60 horse on it. Yep. That Smoker Craft was the first one that had it. And I actually begrudgingly took it off of that one. Wish I could have actually just got it together and built that one instead of this one, but I just wanted to build this one so bad. Should have thought about it. Should have planned out a little better. It's all good. It's all good. All right, guys. Okay, so let's see. This gives a little bit more Q&A here. Question about doing V-hull with no foam. That's a terrible idea. The 60 jet is a good idea, though. I do like that. We'll probably get a jet lower just to switch it out. It'll turn it to like a 30 horse, but we should still be able to play with 30 horses on this boat. Should be able to make it. No foam in a V-hull is actually not a good idea. I know there's like this whole group of people that are like professional fabricators out there. And then I just don't know. I don't follow a lot of them. I see what they say on Facebook pages and in groups. You see the Tracker Grizzly group on Facebook and all the terrible advice they give each other. Like, some run no foam at all. They gut all of it out. And I think that's terrible. But it's more understandable. I can sympathize with a Tracker Grizzly owner or a Lowy Roughneck owner, which the low boats are, let's be honest, they're built better than the Trackers. But I can sympathize with the Tracker Grizzly wanting to gut all the foam because it's a bad layout and a poor design in the Tracker, which doesn't allow the foam to breathe, and it's going to get waterlogged no matter what. But you should still figure out places to put it. I would say that my Smoker Craft, I mean, I have that as a bare hull. It's not with me right now. But if I had that in my garage right now, I would show you. That boat was clapped out. Okay, guys? Like, when I got it, it was clapped out. The original kit in the boat, clapped out. Wood, cheapest of the cheapest. Been through 20 owners. Made in the 1960s. The list goes on, right? The list goes on. It wasn't well taken care of. It wasn't well stored. If you're gonna cat peed in it, and which is why I completely gutted the boat to begin with. So like so I will tell you, based on all those things, I know the boat was not treated well the whole time. So when I gutted the floor, finally gutted the foam out, I was expecting massive amounts of corrosion in it. None. Very minimal, if any, corrosion. But that's because it had that channel. And that's why in the StarCraft, we had all that foam down on the floor, and we added that channel. Why? Because we could. And really, you can only do that in a V-hull, because the floor tapers and sinks down. So you can add that middle channel. And the middle channel is really all you need to avoid corrosion, because there are always a deeper center point for the water to collect versus on a flat bottom like this, where the foam is just symmetrically flat, and the water just sits there. And if you don't have a really good drainage area, like this boat probably has the best drainage out of any drum boat I've ever had. Like, most of them stink. Either the middle spine is inadequate, or there's no middle spine, or there's no gussets for water, or the gussets are clogged with dirt, which is very, very easy to do. The more the boat gets used, and it's just like things, you know. I would think that I would run a V-hull. You can run all kinds of foam in it. You can do the floor. You can do pour foam in the floor, and you still have spots. You know, you still have spots all over the boat once you actually do your kit. I wouldn't. Look, it just takes like one rogue wave to screw you over, and then you'll wish you had foam and 2 bilge pumps. Spare one wave with a boat with no foam, and then, I mean, I hope your phone's waterproof so you can call somebody out in the middle of that lake, because somebody's gonna come get your ass if you guys swim. Like, one wave will take you out. So this is why we foam the 4 corners, or we foam in an H pattern, a U pattern or an H pattern, but definitely the 4 corners. 1, 2, 3, 4. Why the 4 corners? Where's the water going to congregate to get your boat low enough to where water can overtake it from the outside and sink it? The corners. The corners. Well, the side if it's a whole lot of it, but mainly the corners. So, like, a wave is more likely to come over the corner. And if the water is hitting a void, and it can focus all of its weight to that void, it can pull this under, and then there goes. The water just pours in the boat. Then you just watch your boat slowly sink with you in it. And then that's like the very, very bad thing about not running foam is that, but if you have, this is a full void of foam, water cannot overtake it. So this whole core could be full. So the whole thing, a boat is actually really hard to sink if it's flat. It's the minute it tips with a whole lot of weight in it, it can sink. So I could fill this whole boat up with a bunch of water. As long as it doesn't tip, it's not going to sink. It'll just be extremely overweighted and have problems, right? But the whole thing is it can't tip. Enough pressure can't come from this side to really sink this boat. Enough water cannot visibly fill the whole core here with everything I've done to ever sink this boat, because we have so much foam in this boat. It's impossible. And so let's say a standard John boat with the 3 bench seats and those 3 logs of crappy styrofoam, right? Typically, those aren't enough to stop the John boat from sinking, but what they are, and what a lot of people don't think about, is if it sinks, you can recover it with a rope from another boat. Why? Because it's constant buoyancy from the foam itself. Might not have been enough to stop the whole hull from sinking, but what it does is that hull weighs what, 150 pounds, 1436, 1440, that's probably weighs closer to 200 pounds, that hull. That means you don't have to lift the whole 200 pounds out of the water. Because say the boat sinks down 10, 12 feet in the water, the boat really only weighs like 25 pounds because the foam is pushing up, countering the actual weight of the hull. So you can actually go down there with yourself, if you got good lungs, pull it up, push it up if there's foam in there. But if there's no foam in there, you're lifting a 100 to 200 pound hull off the bottom of the lake floor. Like, you can't do that. Yeah, I mean, you might be able to get 2 boats and possibly do that with some pretty serious manpower. And if it's a big enough boat, like a Tracker Grizzly, which everybody's gutting the foam out of, and then imagine that thing sinking. Imagine how much a Tracker Grizzly hull weighs. 500 pounds. Easy. It's like 1/4 inch thick aluminum plate, right? And then plus the outboard, plus the gas, plus all the rigging. Thing's got to weigh over $1,000. Possibly closer to 2. You ain't lifting 2,000 pounds off the boat deck. I don't care. You need a crane to get that thing out. That thing's just part of the lake now. You can't ever lift it off. But if there's enough foam in the boat, if the boat weighs 1,000 pounds roughly, or just under it, and you got 10 to 1,200 pounds worth of foam in here, it was somehow, like, I don't know, something tipped it over, like maybe the outboard's too big, or it was a gas tank or a cooler or too much gear. Something kept it for where it couldn't totally sink. At least you're only lifting, it's like lifting 5 to 10 pounds off of the water. I mean, lifting it out of the water. It's way easier to lift it off the floor because it's already trying to lift itself and you're just assisting it the rest of the way. So that's why the foam is, I'm super against anybody gutting foam. I think it's terrible. If you gut it, you should replace it or repurpose it. Definitely put it somewhere else. If you don't like it because it's blocking a compartment area, fine. Put it somewhere else. The 4 corners, or how we did it in here with like pretty much, we have steel compartments that we poured foam all the way around the whole cavity that's floating on the subfloor and floating on the subwalls. That's a big thing. All right, let me look at some of the comments. I know I was talking forever. Could you line a boat with pink foam, then add pour foam? Yeah. I don't know why you would do that. I don't know what purpose that would serve. You could do that. I mean, foam is foam. You kind of lose the mechanical bond if you're not gonna, like, if you're gonna put foam right on the hull, then first of all you should paint the hull with like epoxy primer, and that will give you at least some sort of resistance to hull degradation, like to oxidation, when foam and water are just sitting there on it constantly. But if you're gonna make foam touch the hull, I would just run foam, because you'll have that solid mechanical bond to the hull, and it'll stiffen up the hull, and it'll ride a lot better through the waves. getting gator skins anytime soon. They relocated. They blew out of Illinois and relocated to Alabama, and who knows if they're going to come back. Which is really sad because I need more. I don't even know when they're going to get their stuff together. Oh, not foaming the subfloor. Yeah. Sorry, I went on a little tangent. But I'm sorry. There's been a whole lot of stuff. That's all I did. I didn't foam the subfloor. That floor is completely hollow. This floor is completely hollow, and those sub walls are completely hollow. There's a whole floating core. If you missed all the lives, but there's 4 2-gallon kits in this boat. There's roughly between 1,000 and 1,100 pounds of reserve flotation in the boat, but there's no foam in the subfloor and no foam in the sidewalls, specifically so water can splash around and do its whole thing, and nobody cares. What is it going to do? We can't never touch the foam. We sealed the foam off in the deck. It'll never touch. Water will never touch this foam. Not ever. The biggest thing with foam is water touching it, because it's water resistant, but it's not waterproof. Yeah, so I definitely, well, with the V-hull, you have the option to run that core down the middle, because the subfloor is naturally higher in a V-hull. The walls are naturally higher in a V-hull. So I would take advantage of that. It's the stupid John boats that are real sketch to foam the floor. I don't know not one John boat that doesn't have serious problems from foam being in the core. Like, not one. Like, they just... So that's why I did it this way. But if I'd had a V-hull, I would have done it like the Starcraft and done it like the Smokercraft, where I would have had pour foam with a channel in the middle. You can't make no channel. The subfloor is only 1.25 inches like tall, the whole thing. You can't do a channel in the middle of a John boat, but you can totally do it in a V-hull. You have advantages in the V-hull. You also have disadvantages. They can take a bigger outboard to plane the boat. It won't go as fast. It's arguably less stable because it tapers more toward the front. But like one of the bigger things is, you can add that middle channel, and you have all that aerodynamicness. Like, I mean, you might as well take the wins where you can get them on a boat like that. Bounce is what he's ranting about. Oh, what was I Yeah, I guess. Yeah, there was a lot of ranting. I'm sorry. Here, let me look. Is that dryer vent running up the ceiling? That was supposed to be a welding fume gas ventilation. It failed miserably, Limo. Failed miserably. It's embarrassing. Dang, I should just take that thing down. I'm lazy. Yeah, I get it, Matt. Remove that stuff out of there, but you gotta place it somewhere else. What's your opinion on the low John boats? I think low probably makes the best John boats. This thing is a low. I might be biased. Don't take my opinion, because I'm clearly... Well, I thought low was better than before I had this boat, which is why I actually strove to get this boat. Low seems to make extremely good boats. Low is also not bought by Johnny Morris, to my knowledge. Maybe it is now. I don't know, Johnny Morris was soaking them all the boat companies. All the boat companies for a long time. He was screwing them all up. So, let me see. Yeah, we'll get another giveaway here, Damien, in a little bit. 70 likes. I guys appreciate all the likes and appreciate that super chat money. I know this is not like I feel like this audience isn't really a live stream audience like the main core. Like, I don't have a bunch of, but it's cool that you guys are doing those things. And plus the live just give me something to do. That way I'm not, because all the time I spent building this boat generally gets eat up editing and doing all kinds of media content. That stuff burns me out, like, pretty bad. Like, so that's how you know there's no true win. There's just work, and then there's play. Like, you don't win. The person who has an office job with weekends and holidays and then like health insurance doesn't win over the tradesman who just works his can off. Because that shit sucks too, right? Working in an office like a sheep, like, or you're grinding out there in the trades, like doing some really hard back-breaking work. That's also terrible. Like, but it's terrible either way, because you get burnout either way. Either your brain feels like somebody kicked it from editing. I don't know, like editing some of these videos on this level, it's like putting together a research paper. It's terrible. And then so you come out, you're like, okay, so that sucks. And then so you come out and you do like some tradesman stuff, like some things that burns you out. Then your back hurts, and then your arm hurts, and then maybe your brain hurts too. Like, so none of it's better. I just do it in spurts. But like, I did binge build this boat in like a week. It was kind of terrible. There's clear health degradation from it. You see? Yeah, I gotta go get like a manicure. Is that what they call it? Call it manicure? A manicure. Oh, never mind. Let me see what you got here. How about fishing spots on Havasu? Don't care about giveaways. Fish the mouth. Fish the basin, Alan. Fish on points. I mean, it's gonna be pre-spawn right now. You got a good fish finder? You gotta check it out. Okay, Sam, what are my thoughts about running a recirculating pump for the live well? In the bottom drain? Well, I mean, we have a flow right kit, Sam, that only runs off one pump that fills and recirculates it. That's the flow right premium kit that we have. That's what sits in there. We only got one pump that does exactly what you say. It pulls water from the bottom of the drain and recirculates it through a three-way valve. So, I do like your idea. Yeah. No, I get it. I mean, it's hard to like compare. Like, I haven't been in, I mean, I only worked in the trades like slightly a little bit. It was really harsh work, really, really tough. Well, I tell you, I had fun. You were just around other men. Yeah, it sucked. There was a bunch of silica and masonry dust and noise and backbreaking nonsense. Your health probably went. You probably aged 10 years in one, but it was fun. It was fun. I felt like I didn't have to like tiptoe on eggshells or pretend I had no balls, like I did when I worked in like corporate or nonprofit jobs, like where I could never win. I could never win because I was a dude. Like, I freaking hated it. I hated it. Waste of time going to school. I don't know. Like, I would go and do literally anything else, and then go back into like an office job. Anything else. I'd go crabbing, professional crabbing. You could die. Like from that, I'll go do that. That's not like fun, right? Let me see. Grinding 60, 80 hours for a flat story. Okay. Well, I missed some of that, Matt. Oh, you want the boat to be level? Yeah, that's true. Well, here's the whole thing. If water can't congregate to the four corners of the boat, it's really hard to sink it. If water can't congregate to the back of the boat because the two corners are actually already full enough to where enough water in the core isn't even enough to sink the boat, then it's really hard to actually sink a boat that's foamed correctly. It's very, very hard. The whole boat has to be just completely to the rim with water, and then even then, if you get out of it, it probably won't sink. Like, you can pull it right off. Like, how do you think they pull them out? You like boat assist goes and pulls out a whole gigantic boat. Like, some of these boats are just ginormous, thousands and thousands of pounds, right? Some of them sink, some of them flip over. Like, there's this boat out here, and Havasu, a nice big boat. He jackknifed to not hit a jet skier, because you know how jet skiers are. He should have just ran that person over. But he didn't. Turned real hard, flipped the boat, called boat assist, and by the time boat assist got out, the boat had sunk to the bottom. They pulled it right off. They pulled it right off the floor. It was like 30 feet down. They pulled it right off there. Why? Boat's full of foam. Otherwise, there ain't no way no little 20-foot little tugboat's going to pull a 30-foot super cat or cigarette boat off the ground without like it having some sort of help from the bottom, that help being foam. So, all right. How do you seal your floor before painting or sea decking? Silicone. As you straight up silicone, RTV silicone. You can get marine silicone too, it's the same thing. Thinking you need something like a sealable C channel of aluminum. Building fiberglass, oh man. Fiberglass boats. Yuck. Only because to build, but not to use. I love fiberglass boats to use them, not to do anything on them. Fiberglass dust everywhere, all in your garage, and your skin, and your pores. Yeah. Better man than me. Ordered your live well kit, built your pump from y'all. Cool. Sweet. I tip my hat to you, Mixed Master Boone. I don't want to touch nothing that's glass. Not one thing. Pick your style, build them out. Okay, sweet. Yeah, Texas. East Texas is, yeah, a lot of John boats in East Texas. A lot of John boats everywhere, really. Most of the country does the John boat thing. Okay, 14-foot V-hull, LMT advantages on tow tube. I don't know. I can't really make out what you said there, John R. How's the center console John boat? How about a center console John boat? LMT Adventures. Oh man, I don't watch other YouTubers. I don't got time. I got time to talk to you guys, and I got time for this. I mean, I'll check them out. Center console on a John boat. It'd be real tight. Look at this. It'd have to be the smallest center console ever. You'd be tiptoeing and almost falling off the side every time you try to get around it. But people do put center consoles in John boats. Excuse me. I think like a 17 or 18 footer would be a little bit more appropriate for a center console. Because at that point in time, it widens out 6 inches to a foot. Like one more foot, really, one more foot out, and this boat, you probably, a center console, you'd be amazed at what 1 foot would do. Right? What 1 foot does for a boat, width-wise. And then obviously lengthwise, so the boat ends up getting balanced a little bit more when it's, you know, the pitching and the rolling. Pitching, roll, you know. I learned that in Navy somewhere. All right. Let me think of another giveaway question. I know you guys are itching. You guys are itching. And plus, I need to go take more Dayquil or something. Drink more vitamin C. I'll probably end up going shopping right now. I like to go shopping at night because, like, nobody's there. It's freaking cold. Is it cold where you guys are at? It's freezing over here. Oh, let me show you something. Check this out. See these? I welded these last night. And then, so these are actually going to go on the side, but I just let them cure. What's bad is that the black paint looks so much better than this faded gray paint. Now I'm going to have to paint the whole trailer. That's stupid, but like, anyways, these are the foam rollers. And then, I don't know how well I can do this with one hand. You guys might have to, hold on, I'm going to clamp this thing right here. There we go. Look at that. Stupid. And there's a little top cap on here too, like a little rubber top cap. Where is that thing? No. Like here. It actually will go on before that. Like I got to drill that out so it's big enough, but it's like this. Right? Right? And it just mounts right here. Ugh. Like this. Ah. Because it had terrible side bunks before. So there is that. And then I'm going to have to weld another piece from like probably this back channel here across so I can have an area to put a transit support. Because there's no, it just floats all the way back. There's so many trailers like this where they just got like a floating joint beam with one major bolt. Like the other one was like that. This trailer really is a piece of crap. Oh. Yeah. I don't know. I swear. I know this is all about tiny boat, but trailers are just as big a part of this whole YouTube channel, this whole thing, as boats are. I've got X amount of trailer bids. Pretty much every boat I've done now, I have to do something for the trailer. I'm going to have to do a lot for this trailer. I'll do a lot more. I thought I was good with the front, and then with these things, but nope. I got to figure out. I have to work on some things. Yeah, I really don't like how it flexes like that. I think it's kind of shit. I really do. It's not good. Let me see what you guys got here. Let me read. What kind of sled do I want for max volume for fish catching? That's out of my depth, John Moore. Like I couldn't even help you. Like, make a catfish rig. It's freezing southern. Okay. Yeah, it's freezing in southern Illinois. How terrible. That's where Nate is. He's over there in Illinois. Okay. Yeah, I have actually no idea what kind of sled. Okay. All right. Doubled. Does anybody make a trolling motor lift jack? I actually don't know what that would be. Yeah, we're gonna put gator back bunks on here, but we still are gonna do them. I actually have some, like, hold on. They're right here. I actually don't know how many feet this is. I think these will fit like an 8 foot. Let's open these up, because I actually don't know how long those are. I might not even be able to pull this off. Need two hands. Not confident enough to do it with one hand. Oh, it's leaking rainwater in my boat. Hey, look how this water just kind of beads off the deck. See how that's like, it's not even like sinking in there. Here, I'll show you in a second. Yeah, check this out. See that? You guys always, does a foam absorb water? Well, if it sits on there long enough, yeah. Otherwise, it just beads on the foam just like this, and then evaporates off. Like, it doesn't actually get wet. And over time, I think it becomes more porous with excessive use, but initially, no. No, it doesn't. The water just beads on it and stays that way. It doesn't really soak in. Let me see this long. Is this 8 foot? There's no way to tell. Well, maybe there is. Okay. We'll just be able to tell if it's an 8 footer. Okay. Yeah, I think so, huh? Minus all the... That's definitely for an 8 foot bunk. All right. And I'm pretty sure those are 8 foot. Yeah, pretty sure those are 8 foot. So those will work. Those will work. Then we have the flashlights to light them up in here. Look down here. But if we're talking about terms of priority, like this boat getting on the water, the flashlights, the gator bunks are not a priority. Like those and getting a back thing so I can have a transit support mount to the back so this motor doesn't flex out the boat, that's much bigger priority. Plus, obviously, mounting boat straps back here, that's a bigger thing. That's definitely a bigger thing. Heck yeah. All right, you guys there? What do you guys got? A trolling motor scissor lift? Like a scissor mount? I've not heard of ultimate bunk boards either. But, all right, let's do one more giveaway. Okay. Yeah. A little stumped here for a good question. I have a quick question. I'm trying to make it jumbo related to be like part of the theme. Okay. So I have built 1, 2. How many John boats have I built? Like in general. Like this channel has built a lot. Dang, you guys are really on that. All right. Once you put one guess in, just guess once and then stop. because I want to say we had the first boat I ever built was a John boat, and then I made a video saying don't build it this way because it's terrible. It's one. Then I built a 1648 true flat bottom, and then I built a boat for that little kid down in Yuma. Then I built a 1448. But that one was a truly embarrassing build because of who I had to work with. And I built my yak killer. That's 5. And I built the last John boat, so that was 6, and then this one would be 7. So who guessed 7? Somebody guessed 7. I seen it. Somebody guessed 7 in the first few like answers. Damien got it 7. And Damien, you're just gonna rack up shirts and decals, man. You're gonna have like a whole crew of shirts there. I guess you'll have one for your spare. Are you a size? Yep, got 7. And if we didn't count this one, it would be 6 anyways, and that was Damien's first answer. So he got it. He got it. So Damien, you got the other giveaway. Now that means I'll be sending him a package every week. It's a lot of packages. All right. Sweet, guys. He guessed twice? He did? Well, I mean, on my screen, it shows him guessing the first 2 possibilities it could be. Like, it could be including or not including this one, but including this one, it's 7. Not including, it would be 6. And he said both of those before anybody even got a number off. So, I did say one guess, like, but after you guys had like a million answers, and I didn't want it to be like filtering through the answers. Yeah, so let me, all right, we'll do that. We got more stuff to give away. We'll probably give away some physical products, because there are some physical products that I could not put in this boat that I wanted to, but because of how the walls shifted in to make this whole thing work, they weren't actually gonna make it. So I got some cup caddies, some vertical caddies, got some other products. So we'll get going on those things, but definitely appreciate you guys being around here, answering some questions, talking to you guys, see what you guys are doing, and only buy stuff if you want. Really, our major thing is influence and obviously pushing this movement. I appreciate you guys checking out the store, and I'm pretty excited to see how that 60 horse pushes this boat. I wonder what it's going to do. I'm going to have a few cameras recording my facial expression once it flies, but I do imagine it will probably get on plane immediately with like almost minimal to no try, and I'll probably run out of prop. I probably should get a 15-pinch stainless. That thing will probably just send me. I think this thing will get on plane immediately. As it got in my other boat, it would plane my other boat with 4 people in it through chop fairly well. Like there's only one point in time where the chop was so bad where like got caught in some freak storm and that was in a giant V-hole, like Alaskan style V-hole. That thing is like a turd to push through water, and it still freaking got us through there. And I would tow on my V-hole too. Like I would tow boats. That's another big thing too. Like you got a small boat, big wide open deck on here. You can put like a tow tube, and you got like, it's not in the way. Just put a tow tube there, and they have like the tow rings, and the booster ball. Like I tow my kids on my fishing boats too, so it works. Pretty good. 1860 with a 60 is scary. Well, okay. Let me see here. Now, 60 seemed to be just enough for that other boat. But given how easily the other 1648 John boat planed with just a 25, and even with a trolling motor like the other 1648 John boat we just did, with a 45-pound trolling motor, that thing flew with a 45-pound. It was going faster than some of the bass boats with a 36-volt. And so the 36-volt on that boat is completely overkill. The 36-volt on this is overkill. And so I up-talk the Ultrex all the time. All the time. I'm like how it's the most well-balanced motor. Like you don't need stupid gain settings. You don't need none of that. But I never actually ran a 36-volt Ultrex. And so I've had to take some of that back. Because this is too powerful for the boat. I can already know. Like maybe Yeah, it's going to be. The 24 volt is really, really well balanced. It doesn't get you the fastest on the high end, but the 24 volt is really well balanced in terms of it fits on boats from small to big, and it doesn't want to throw you off when it goes to pull itself back on anchor. This one, on the other boat, kind of did. The other one had a 36 volt Ultrex. This one has a 36 volt Ultrex. I just don't know if I'm going to end up dropping back down to a 24 because I don't like 36. That would suck. I only have two. I'm not going to go buy another one. They're too expensive. So I'll figure it out. We'll figure it out. Excuse me, guys. V-hull 14-foot or 14-foot flat bottom for the river. A river with barge traffic. I mean, unless you're going on serious flats like 6 inches of water, 4 inches of water, there is no advantage that a flat bottom has over a V-hull. Other than that, it's easier to build, and it's arguably more stable to fish on. It is more stable to fish on, let's be honest, it is. So a V-hull is more stable than its equivalent. I'm sorry, a John boat is more stable than its equivalent size V-hull when you're all over it. But aside from that, like, I don't know, like a Mod V, these don't do too bad in the chop. Like, don't get a true flat bottom though. It's the true flat bottoms that truly get beat up by waves. And oncoming waves from those truly just get destroyed. Like 1 foot waves feel like it's a 5-footer. It just smacks the boat, smacks the front. So like I don't know, if you're not really going in super flats, I wouldn't imagine getting a true flat bottom or the Mod V. Like I would tell you to get a V-hull unless you're going to go in super shallow water. And a lot of those V-hulls actually go in pretty shallow water anyways. Like right into a foot of water or 6 inches of water. They still go in there. It's like, so when you have like a true deep V, like most of the 14-foot boats are like semi-Vs. What people would consider a semi-V, meaning it's a really strong V in the front, but it tapers out flat to the back. Like a true deep V, the boat is a V. The whole hull is a V, with the sharpest obviously being in the front. That's like a true Alaskan style deep V. Yeah, if it gets rough, the V-hulls they just do better in rough weather. Like, it just is what it is. What top speed do I think I'll get? Probably 40 with the right prop. Probably get a 14 pitch stainless. Probably do 40 all day, maybe faster. I already know that I'll get 30 to 35 almost immediately. I was running out of prop with this. I was running. You could physically watch yourself running out of prop on this prop. I think it's a 14. It's a 13 pitch 4-blade or 14 pitch 4-blade. Can't remember. But the 4-blades have a whole lot of torque out of the hole, and their high end sucks. So you can go to a 14 pitch 3-blade or 13 pitch 3-blade, and it'll drag out of the hole a little bit more. But obviously, I don't really see it being a huge problem for this boat. But the high end will be better. And then it's all just about boat pitch, elevation. So if I go to certain lakes that have higher elevation, that prop is going to be probably way better for performance. And then if I stick around my home lake, then I definitely could go up in pitch. But I don't know how fast I want to go. Like, the whole thing about this is, I only got a 6-gallon gas tank to power this 60 horse. It's not a lot of gas, which it's okay though, because I only had a 60-gallon for my 25 horse, and arguably I got the same amount of gas mileage from the 60 horse I did with the 25 horse. Because I only had to be on half throttle or less on the 60 horse to get more than the speed I was getting out of the 25 at max throttle. So I was hanging around between 25 and 30 most of the time on my boat, just kind of chugging along, all smug-like. And then, yeah, but I'm not gonna be flooring this thing everywhere. Like I don't know. It'll be all right. You just get used to it. Like, it looks like it's a lot. You get used to it. You might. I hear people tell me it's scary. People told me it was scary to put a 40 horse tiller, but they got steering assist. They have these other things in here. They make it so where it can't just immediately jar and throw you off. It's all right. It's all right. It's not that bad. You just got to go to the gym. You'll be okay. Work on those shoulders. Check out PowerTech props. Huh. Okay, yeah, I'll have to check that out. 40 on a 14? If it's rated for it, put it on there. Put it right on there, John. Don't be scared. Can't be scared your whole life. Just put it right on there. What's the weight of 60 horse? I don't actually know. 300 pounds. 200. It's sub 300 pounds or at 300 pounds. It's a lot. It's too heavy for me to lift. So I could lift like a 30 horse, 4-stroke. I can like lift and put that on a boat. I can't lift that thing. I think I lifted it off the ground like an inch before I gave up. So it's extremely heavy. If I can't lift it up, it's heavy. It's like, it's heavy. So that's how I feel about it. We're at the show this weekend? Oh, sweet. Probably Chris and Ryan. They do all the shows. I used to do the shows, but then I would never get anything done. Like never. Like it was either I do all the shows in the media or I build things that actually matter. So I had to make a decision there. All right, guys. I think that's going to be it for the live. That's it for our giveaways tonight. We'll have more stuff later. Appreciate you guys hanging around. I'll see you. Probably we'll do a live when everything is wired and you can see more than what you see now. So everything will be wired and rigged, and the boat will pretty much be ready to go on the water the next time we go live. Or we'll have been on the water and caught fish, and I'll just be telling you about it. All right, guys. See you later.